Okay, here we are. We are now at step 8. This might be the longest video, so if you need to stop anytime you want to, go ahead, but this is the more important part of the 10 steps where we will talk about editing. So once again, I have some pre-recorded videos, so I'm going to do my best to narrate. So over here, I'm going to show you how to import your files. So before I press play, I just want to show you that I am just about to open the app. You know, I'm at my home screen or whatever. I have my own folder, and I'm about to press the Rush CC button. So I'm going to open Rush, and let me see if I can erase some of that. So I'm going to press this plus button down here. I'm going to press Add Media. And when I do that, I can go to Dropbox. Remember how we saved some stuff over there? So I'm gonna go to my folder, the Slideshow video, and all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go down here and select everything. I'm just gonna touch these empty boxes and they're gonna number themselves up. If you have a certain order, you can number them in any way you would like. But when I am done over here, I'm gonna press the blue create button. I don't know how many I pressed, so we shall see. Still pressing. Will I press this blue create? I did. Okay, so now it's gonna prepare the media for you, and like I showed you in the tips and tricks, it's gonna put it into separate layers over here. So you have all the photos and videos on one layer, and you have the audio on another layer. Let me see if I can clear this up. Sorry, it's very cluttered and very messy. Actually, I think that's it. So we shall now move on to the next step. Okay, so now we're going to be talking about preparing the timeline. So before you go off and do your own edits, there are a few precautions that I would recommend taking. So over here, I'm just pinching in the timeline by just pinching my fingers. And so over here is my intro file. I'm going to move that to the very beginning, so before any of the pictures. And then I have my outro file right here. And I'm going to move that to the very end, so after all of my pictures. And then I'm just zooming out, and now I'm moving my music to its own soundtrack. And look over here, you'll see that I'm going to have the audio start at 0111, and with that, it matches the audio best. So once again, that is 0111. And from there, you should be good to go. So we have our intro at the very beginning, we have our outro at the very end, we have our voiceover starting at the end of the intro. So let me see if I can zoom in for you guys. So if you'll see here, here is the end of my intro, and at the very end I have the voiceover starting. And then I have the soundtrack starting at 0111, and I feel like that's the best way to get it to match. Now if you're using your own audio, go ahead and just listen to the song and listen and look at the intro and just see when you think it would line up best. It's just your opinion and your choice. Okay, so next we're going to go ahead and talk about the editing. So this isn't a definitive way on how to edit. It's just that with everything you've learned in the recent videos and in this video, it should give you some general ideas of how to edit your own video. So we're going to go ahead and play. So I'm just going to talk you through everything. So I'm just pinching in with my fingers to look at the timeline. And I'm going to be editing the length of the picture. So if you notice here, I'm moving it to 912 to last for 3 seconds, and I'm just going to shorten it using the orange bars at the end. So I'm going to do the same thing here. I knew it was at 912, so I'm going to go over to 1212, and then I'm going to shorten it using the orange bars. You can also cut, it's whatever you prefer. Then I'm moving images around, so if the audio doesn't match, which you can check by pressing play, you can move pictures around the timeline, so that way what is being said matches with what is being shown. And over here, there's some black space, so I am pinching in the picture using my fingers to sort of put it into place. And then over here, I think I'm doing the same thing. I'm just shortening the pictures, and I'm just rushing a little bit. So I'm going to stretch this picture to line up here at the end of the voiceover / narration. And so that's the general idea. And the track is now lined up over here. This is all into place. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to shorten my soundtrack to end at the same time as the outro. And I will say this is probably the formula you want to go for. So you want your intro at the very beginning, you want your outro at the very end, and you want the voiceover narration to be along with the pictures. So now what I'm doing is I'm just adding transitions to every single picture. So I open the transitions panel, and with every picture, I am just pressing cross dissolve. That's what I prefer. You can use dip to black or dip to white. And I'm gonna do that for every single picture until all pictures have a transition. As you see here, it's sort of fading. I'm sort of brushing through it fast, so I apologize. And let's see if it will stop over here so I can slow down and sort of describe everything for you. Okay, so like I was saying, let's zoom in real quick. So here is the general formula that you want. You want your intro at the very beginning. You want your outro at the very end. Over here is your voiceover narration. You want your photos to last the same length as the voiceover narration, and you want the pictures to be maybe 2 to 4 seconds, like I said. And over here I have this Teamwork Scott Holmes starting at the 0111 mark, and then I am having the song end at the same time that the outro ends. So unless you know exactly what you're doing, I'd recommend to try to follow this sort of recipe when you're like pinched out and looking at your timeline. But other than that, that's really how you edit. Oops, sorry. And so I'm just gonna go over what I basically was talking about. So what I did was I imported my files into the project/timeline, which you saw in the first video. I moved the intro and the outro to the beginning and the end of the timeline, respectively. I lined the music up with the intro video. That's with Teamwork Scott Holmes. And then I put the voiceover/narration after intro, and then it ended after outro. And then what I did from there was I made sure that the photos lasted 2 to 4 seconds. I made sure that the photos matched what the narration is talking about. And then I added transitions between the pictures. And then I didn't do it here, but what you want to do is you want to play back the video multiple times. You know, you just want to see like, well, now that I saw it a couple times, I think this photo would match better at this part in the video. You know, just play it back until it's somewhere where you like it. You want to spend the most time here. You'll probably edit for a solid hour, maybe even longer, because you want this video to be as amazing as it can possibly be. So go ahead and be picky. Go ahead and look at what you want to have done and what you would want to see differently. You can mess around with it in any way that you would like.